We need to talk about the story behind the breakdancing dad, and how one TikToker's video about the father that abandoned her led to an unhinged response directly from that father on Twitter, which went on to go viral across social media, with even Elon Musk giving his reputable opinion on the matter. But before we get into that, it's probably your first time here, because this is the first ever post on my second channel. The main channel will continue to get a longer video each week, and over here I'll be posting the opposite, mostly shorter weekly videos, along with anything else that wouldn't fit on the main channel. It also means we can have a lot more fun with the stories, scripts, and edits. Today's story was sent to me by my friend Max at trading.shop. If you come across something you think I should cover on the new channel, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Now let's talk about today's story, which begins with Maddie Hart on TikTok, a content creator and comedian that posted this video on February 13th.
What's a piece of trauma that you have that's funny? It has to actually be funny. I'll go first. My dad abandoned my family when I was 5 years old. That is a wife and 4 kids. He abandoned us and then pursued amateur breakdancing. And he got really good. He blew up. He became a D-list celebrity status, viral breakdancer. He became the oldest actively competing breakdancer in the world. Then he got on Good Morning America and talk shows, and Washington Post wrote about him, and he went super viral. And he did all these interviews, and he danced with Paula Abdul. Here, I'll show you.
To see, take a look at this 60-year-old breakdancer. Yes, 60 years old. Amazing. That's Ben Hart. He's competing at a breakdancing competition in Philadelphia, and he may not have won, but I tell you what, he is winning over a lot of people on the internet. Yes. He really is. Yeah. Yep, he's winning over a lot of people on the internet.
I don't know, man. He dances like what I imagine Goofy would dance like if he tried to breakdance. I feel like Goofy probably did breakdance in that one movie, and it was probably better than this.
This guy wouldn't pay my medical bills. Worst part, damn it, he's good. He should not be able to move his body like that. It's impossible. It's beautiful. Hey, Dad.
I think he's just really good at balancing on his head and spinning, because everything else looks pretty bad.
There was no split custody or anything. He just left 4 kids to do that. He may not have paid for some of my medical bills growing up, but he did give me this breakdancing merchandise. So that's him. He's on his head. Benihana is his b-boy name because his name is Ben Hart. I'll get texts like this, "Happy birthday?" ? And then links to his breakdancing videos.
The happy birthday with a question mark followed by the self-promo of his own breakdancing competition clip just 1 week later is an insane combo. But that was Maddie's video, which blew up with 6.5 million views on TikTok. Now we can talk about who the heck Maddie's dad is. His name is Ben Hart, a Bitcoin explainer, freedom maximalist, world's oldest actively competing breakdancer, 65, and an Elon fan. A pretty well-rounded resume, if you ask me. But just wait till you see the pinned video of him representing Bitcoin at the Pro-Am National Breaking Championship in Miami. Clearly just in a league of his own. I'm not sure why he's dressed like a middle school boy picked out his outfit, but the subtle design of the Bitcoin shirt was a nice touch. However, I hate that his name is B-Boy Benihana. Regardless, 5 days later, B-Boy Benihana saw Maddie's video about him and tweeted this: "I wake up at 6 a.m. to find that my daughter has posted a TikTok video trashing me. She's a big social media influencer with millions of followers. Here it is." I'm not sure why he included the time he woke up, but there's also this 10-minute response video.
Okay, I wake up at 6 a.m. to do some work. I get my coffee. I sit down, I open my computer, and what am I greeted with? Well, Hundreds of comments calling me a deadbeat dad, a child abandoner, and all manner of other insults. So I think, what's this all about?
First, let me call out a few minor details. Like, for one, why is he talking like that? It's like he's doing a Seinfeld bit or something. Second thing I have to mention, the chair. The man is locked into that massive leather armchair. I don't know why it's in his storage closet, but it does look comfy. Last thing, how does he have another Bitcoin shirt? Where and why is he buying these things?
Well, after a few minutes of investigation, I discover that my daughter, Maddie, has made a video about me. She's a screenwriter in Hollywood. She's also a big social media influencer with millions of followers. Some of her videos get millions of views. And this video has tens of millions of views. 1 million likes, 20,000 comments, 40,000 bookmarks, 30,000 reposts. It's just insane.
Okay, he's only leaning further and further into the voice the more we get into this. Also, her video does not have tens of millions of views. It only has 6.5 million.
So I thought I'd better watch this video. And frankly, I was pretty chagrined by what I heard, to say the least. But honestly, the more I watch this video, the more I like it. Well, I like about 98% of it. However, I do need to correct a few statements in the video. But first, let's just watch Maddie's 90-second video, and then I'll give you my comments.
I really can't take this man seriously while he's doing the voice. But after this, he watches Maddie's video in full, then he says this.
Okay, in many ways I love this video. And of course, I love my daughter Maddie, and we get along great. At least I think we do. But a few corrections are in order, or at least a few things that need to be put in context. First, I can see that as a 5-year-old, Maddie would see her dad as having abandoned the family. One day I was living there, the next day I wasn't. And that will look like abandonment to a child. But married couples do get divorced about half the time in America. And I was just living a mile or so down the street in LaGrange, Illinois. We just weren't living under the same roof.
Okay, so based on what he's saying, maybe Maddie's use of the term abandoned was slightly exaggerated, but we shouldn't draw any conclusions yet.
Now, about not paying medical bills. That's just not correct. Here was the financial arrangement of the divorce. Maddie's mom, my ex-wife, got $2 million at the get-go, out of the gate, a lump sum payment. Plus, I was paying her $18,000 per month in child support and alimony. This was later reduced to $12,000 per month. And of course, I paid health insurance and out-of-pocket medical costs. I also put $600,000 into the kids' college fund. In all, I paid out about $5 million to my ex-wife to cover costs for her and the kids. And this is in 2005 dollars, so add 50% to account for inflation.
Jesus, how is the breakdancing Bitcoin dad that loaded back in 2005? What's the lore behind this weird man?
In other words, I was not a deadbeat dad at all. And by the way, Maddie did not say that in her video. But a lot of the comments assume that and say that. Now, of course, there was no way for Maddie to know how much I was paying because she was a kid. This wasn't something I talked about. Also, remember that I was living 1 mile down the road from the kids in LaGrange, Illinois. Sidewalks all the way. An easy walk or bike ride. I saw the kids all the time. No abandonment, just a divorce. Was I at fault in the divorce? Yeah, I would say I was about 70% at fault. I own that.
I really want to know if it was the breakdancing. Bitcoin didn't really exist yet, so I feel like it had to be. But, you know, maybe he always talked like this.
Maddie's mom and I were really not compatible in many ways. We were compatible in some ways, but not in other ways. Do I regret marrying Maddie's mom? No, absolutely not. If I had not married Maddie's mom, Maddie and her 3 siblings would not have been born. They would not have existed.
I hate the way his face looks when he said that.
They would not have existed.
In a weird way, it reminds me of the Muffins video.
What would you like for breakfast, Johnny?
Their voices are kinda similar, to be honest.
The kids have turned out great. Maddie graduated from Northwestern University and is a screenwriter in Hollywood. Maddie's older sister Tori is a partner at a hedge fund on Wall Street, and she's getting rich. Maddie's younger sister Olivia just graduated from college and is teaching English to first graders in Thailand. Her older brother Peter is getting a master's degree in psychology. I get along great with all my kids, including Maddie. At least I think I do.
I mean, he really makes it seem like he doesn't forget to tell his own kids happy birthday. Sure, they turned out fine, but I have a strong feeling he didn't help out much beyond just sending money.
One other slight correction, which I hesitate to even bring up because I love the way Maddie did this in her video. I did not abandon the family for breakdancing. I have a career. I'm in the advertising business, built an ad agency. That's how I was able to afford to pay Maddie's mom $5 million. Maddie's mom and I separated in 2004 and divorced in 2005. I took up breakdancing entirely by accident in 2012 as a way to get in shape at the age of 54. I then just kept doing it. I'm now age 66. Now some of you might be wondering, can he still breakdance at age 66? Well, I don't know. Let's see. I'll give it a try.
Okay, Maddie, let's see how the old man does.
No shot, dude. He really just used his response video to show off his breakdancing. This is insane. He's got a lot of jazz hands energy in his routine.
The main point is that it's never too late to start breakdancing. I started when I was age 54. I'm now age 66. So there's really no excuse for anyone not to be breakdancing.
I don't really know how I feel about the flopping fish move.
So the bottom line is this. At first, I really did not like Maddie's video at all. But I was biased by all the negative comments that I was greeted with at 6 a.m. in the morning in my social media feed. But the more I watch the video, the more I like it. And her video certainly is true from her perspective, even though a few details are off. No doubt because of what she heard from her mom. And I do think it's a great storyline that a 54-year-old dude left his family to pursue breakdancing, even if not quite true, factually. But perhaps it speaks to a bigger truth. A truth that is really truer than the actual facts of the matter.
Now his voice sounds like Tucker Carlson, and I hate it even more. But during the rest of the video, Ben reads out some of his favorite comments from Maddie's TikTok. But he doesn't edit the video to show them on screen, so we're just gonna move on. Because after Ben uploaded this video, Elon Musk replied to it and said, "You are awesome." And I'm not very surprised. This guy seems equally as divorced as Elon. But Ben replied to this tweet and said, "Thank you, Elon. I'm a huge fan of you. Tesla and Bitcoin are my two biggest investments." He also quote tweeted Elon's response and said, "Wow, Elon just commented on my post. Love you, Elon. Thank you for saving free speech and civilization." This dude cannot be real. But one day after this, on February 19th, Maddie posted a TikTok responding to the situation.
I'm recording a quick response to all this. I'll probably delete this in the morning because I don't actually have bad will. I posted my video because it's a very funny story. It's very silly. I like to laugh at my trauma instead of being super sad about it. But I know my dad posted a 10-minute video or whatever being my daughter's lying. We have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with all my kids. That's just objectively not true. Guys, we're all freaking out about this in my family group chat right now. We're being he's so unhinged and delusional. We don't know if he actually believes his own narrative or if he's lying on purpose, but he's just a weird guy. Yeah, he said he lived down the street from us. That's not true. Or if he did, it was only for a few months maybe, but actually for most of my childhood, he lived in Florida with his new wife.
Are you kidding? Now this guy sounds actually insane. But I'm also not surprised if the Bitcoin shirt guy is just straight up lying.
My video was basically sanitizing the situation and poking fun at the lightest parts of that childhood trauma. But obviously in real life, it was a lot more complicated and traumatic, and it was really hard. He left us, immediately married another woman. We didn't hear from him for years. And then he would visit every few months and we'd go out to dinner. But he truly had no hand in raising us at all. We don't speak with any sort of regularity. He doesn't know when my birthday is. As you guys saw in the video I posted, he got it wrong.
You know, if this guy is really as unhinged as he sounds, maybe it was for the better that he disappeared.
He gave us some money growing up. Like, I honestly don't know the nitty gritty of the financial situation. I really, really don't. But I do know that several times I've asked him for financial help with medical expenses, like especially like in college, and he wouldn't help me. So that's what I was referring to in my video when I was like, he wouldn't pay some of my medical bills. I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I'm, 2 hard kombuchas in. And so I feel the need to kind of defend me and my family's like POV. Bottom line is, this guy was a completely absent father. He's like, I was just a bike ride away from those kids. And it's like, not once did any of us ever take a bike ride to his house. I don't think I've ever been in his house ever.
This is crazy. Yeah, I don't really know why he made up all of the backstory. Like, who the heck is this guy?
So this whole thing is so bizarre. Like, I'm so surprised that he responded to my video, because I'm just like, damn, I could have actually made you seem like way worse than I made you seem. Like, in my video, I just made you seem like such a whimsical, funny guy. Like, but in real life, it was actually a lot darker. So I'm so surprised that he responded to it. And it's obviously kind of hurtful and weird, but again, we don't really have a relationship. So at the end of the day, it doesn't have a huge effect on me. It's just kind of a bummer for my family. And we're all kind of looking at this and looking at his response, and we're just like, this is crazy. If this is actually his narrative, it's like delusional.
Okay, so I honestly have no idea what's actually true anymore, because it really does seem like Ben Hart just made most of his video up. Apart from the breakdancing bit, I definitely think that's real. But the next day, we saw one final TikTok from Maddie regarding the situation. And during the video, she talks about how her dad exaggerated her resume by saying she was a famous influencer with millions of followers when she only has 70,000, and claiming she was a successful Hollywood screenwriter at Netflix while she's only worked there as an assistant. After this, she shows examples of news outlets taking his false story and running with it, pointing out that even Candace Owens failed to do her due diligence when it came to basic research, which shouldn't be surprising to anyone. Now, as I was editing this video, Ben posted a 30-minute long part 2 on Twitter, responding to Maddie's TikTok where she claims his story was mostly lies. I'll link the full thing below if you want to watch the whole thing, but I'll summarize it here. Ben's tweet says, Part 2, my Hollywood daughter continues social media storm against me, her Bitcoiner breakdancing dad. The video starts with Ben talking about how big Maddie's video's gotten now. And again, he incorrectly says she's a screenwriter in Hollywood.
My daughter Maddie is a 24-year-old screenwriter in Hollywood. I love her so much, though we are on different sides politically for the most part. She's also a social media King Kong. Many of her TikTok videos get millions of views. Maddie's initial video about me got 7 million views last I looked.
Okay, he's still 400,000 views off, but he's getting a little closer. Also, I need to point out that he has on a third Bitcoin shirt. Is he getting them all from the same guy? He has to be their biggest customer. After this, he shows a clip from the part 1 video. Then he responds to Maddie's response video.
Now, I'm not going to go through all of Maddie's points here, most of which are just a repeat of what her mom's been telling the kids for the last 19 years.
I love that the Bitcoin shirt breakdancing guy expects us to side with him over his ex-wife.
Okay, so let's roll tape to see what childhood was actually like for my kids. And let's see how my relationship was with the kids even after the divorce. We have with us here Maddie Hart. She is a YouTube specialist. How many videos, Maddie, do you have on YouTube now?
About 54.
No way his voice was actually just like that. That's crazy, dude. I'd probably divorce him too. But the video continues with Ben showing old clips of Maddie talking about her up-and-coming YouTube channel, along with random clips of his kids growing up and Ben at their graduation ceremonies. I won't be including these videos, but again, Ben's post is linked below. The section ends with some photos of Ben with his family recently. Then he says this.
Let me be clear. Maddie is not lying in her videos. She is saying in these videos what she perceives to be true from her perspective. She's expressing her truth. And her perception is impacted radically by 19 years of brainwashing by my ex-wife.
At this point, it's hard for him to sound more divorced, but it does seem like he sees his kids semi-frequently, and they don't hate him at least.
I don't want anyone attacking or bullying Maddie for her videos. Her videos express her perspective, and I believe they are honest from her perspective. So feel free to direct negative comments my way, but please don't bully Maddie.
Okay, so overall, he doesn't seem completely crazy, but I'll probably regret saying that in a moment. I just don't understand how we're 12 minutes into a part 2 video, and he still hasn't actually refuted any of her claims.
Now, I told Maddie I liked 98% of her video, but that there were some significant inaccuracies in there, like about me not paying medical bills. That's just not true. And the implication was that I was some kind of deadbeat dad. I paid her mom millions of dollars in alimony, child support, put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the kids' college funds, paid for their health insurance, of course, and out-of-pocket medical costs, as I should have. The result was that the kids were able to live in a wealthy suburb of Chicago, attend top colleges, and pursue very good careers.
Okay, but that still doesn't mean he helped raise the kids in any way.
I asked Maddie to take down her video and at least correct the damaging inaccuracies. It just wasn't true that I wasn't covering medical costs. I told her almost everyone I know had seen it, including clients. It had the potential to hurt my business, hurt me professionally. And I certainly don't think she meant any harm by her first video. But she declined to take down her video because she said her video had gone viral. So she didn't want to take it down.
I mean, to be fair, you literally put her entire video in your part 1 response video. And the story had already been covered by the mainstream news. So what would taking her video down even do?
So I came back a day or so later and told her that I had posted a response video on X. I told her the video response is very mild and very positive. It just corrects a couple of inaccuracies. And at that point, my video on X only had a few hundred views. She watched my video and seemed to like it, thought it was funny. So then I suggested, since you aren't going to take down your video and correct it, I would at least like you to post my response video on your feed. I explained to her that people will love it, predicted that it would get millions of views on her channel, because her videos often get millions of views. I also suggested to her that after my response video, I could fly out to Los Angeles. We could then do a collaboration video, sitting down together and hash out these issues. People would love that, I said, but she declined.
Yeah, if this part is true, I'm not really sure why she would decline to hear him out. But why in the world would she post his response video on her feed if she thought it was full of lies? After this, he goes on to talk about how many views his response video got.
Maddie's mom started to freak out, sent me long text messages telling me to take my video down. I'm like, but Maddie's video is still up and has 7 million views, and that's just on TikTok. Plus, Maddie has posted a much more negative second video, full of inaccuracies. Here are the basic facts. Maddie's mom and I got divorced in 2005. In America, about half of marriages end in divorce, and it's natural for young children to feel abandoned. One day the father's living in the house, and the next day he's not. That can feel like abandonment. Maddie's mom and I had some very ugly legal proceedings that Maddie is largely unaware of. I don't talk about it, but our divorce was probably worse than most.
He goes on to explain that he lived just down the street from the kids from 2007 to 2011. Then in 2012, Maddie's mom got remarried and they moved 1 hour away. Ben notes that he would see the kids as frequently as they would like to. But for his 2 teenage girls, this was less frequent than his son.
Teenage girls can be absolutely brutal, by the way, especially on divorced dads. If you're a divorced dad with young girls, get ready for a rough ride. My only advice to you, be patient. They will grow up, and you will get along with them when they reach adulthood. All you can really do is show them that you're there for them when they want to interact with you. You can't force interaction. Eventually they will interact with you.
Overall, he kinda seems like a well-meaning guy that really only hates his evil ex-wife. Following this, he addresses the allegations around them moving to Florida.
Anyways, no, we did not move to Florida. Wanda and I bought a second house in Florida in 2015, but we still maintained the Illinois house. And remember, the kids were older by this point. 2 were in college, 2 were in high school. The kids were doing their own thing by this point. We would typically stay in Florida in the winter, and then stay in Illinois when the weather was nice, in the spring, the summer, and the fall.
After this, he talks about how he helped out Maddie with some moving and car expenses after college, and even co-signed her apartment lease. But then he starts boomer complaining about how kids have it so easy these days, and his dad would give him nothing back then. But then Ben really starts to get unhinged when he confirms that he wouldn't help Maddie out with medical expenses.
But also, she had broken up with her boyfriend around this time. She said she needed to go to grief counseling and therapy. She and her mom wanted me to pay for that too. That's where I drew the line. I consider medical care to be like when you're sick or have a broken leg or need stitches, got into a car accident, stuff like that. Not grief counseling over a breakup with a boyfriend. Also, counseling and psychology today are completely dominated by far-left female wokesters.
Oh my god, dude. I didn't expect that at all.
Almost no males in that profession. So no doubt her therapist would be telling her the problem was her dad. The last thing I wanted to pay for was more brainwashing against her dad. and against men in general.
Okay, yeah, never mind. This guy is certifiably insane.
Now, she did land a job in LA with NBC Peacock streaming, and that was going very well for her. She loved it. She was an assistant writer for a show. But then the writer's strike hit, which lasted about 6 months, and she temporarily lost her job or was laid off. She, of course, approached me to see if I could help her out with funds. Otherwise, she said she'd be forced to move back to Chicago and live with Mom. So I agreed to pay her $250 per week while the writer's strike was still going on, and until she could land some other kind of work, even temporary work. And I told her this would be a month-to-month thing. I wasn't going to just pay her $250 per week indefinitely. She might have to get work at a car wash or Starbucks if this writer's strike doesn't end soon. Or, God forbid, get a job at a bank. So I paid the $250 per week, I think for 10 weeks, until she was able to land a job at Netflix, which apparently was not affected by the writer's strike for some reason. She was also using the writer's strike period to build her social media career as a kind of side hustle. And she's gotten her social media side hustle to a point where she brings in some money with that. I admire Maddie for this. One thing I will say about Maddie, she is a very hard worker. When she sets her mind to something, she will achieve it.
It is kind of wild for Maddie to say he abandoned her if he really was giving her $1,000 a month as recently as the writer strikes. Sure, he did some bad things, but I do think he helped out financially more than most non-abandoning parents do.
This idea that Maddie and I have not had a good relationship is just not true. Well, at least in my mind. Of course, it's possible she's thinking something differently than what she's showing. But let's just randomly scroll through our text conversations to see what they're like. For one thing, we're texting with each other all the time, just literally all the time.
If he really thinks we can read that, he's crazy. And if you're really texting all the time, then how did you miss her birthday?
Looks like everyone wants to do dinner Friday night. I get in Friday. Put me down. Love. Another love here, one of these love type things right here, like that. And that's pretty much just kind of how we communicate all the time. It's just, I love you and all this stuff. And she just tells me about what's going on in her life pretty much every day. My plane made it. Sorry I missed you. How was your Christmas? Thanks. That's what our conversation's like, and literally they're just all the time like that. So it just goes and 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 goes. So I don't actually know how you could have a better relationship if you just read through those texts.
I'm such a good father, guys. Read the texts. I'm not much of a caller.
And remember that birthday I forgot? Turns out I didn't actually forget it. On March 8th of 2023, Maddie texts me and says she blew out a tire and broke a rim on her car, and that it would cost $700 to fix. I texted back, I'll send you $200 early for birthday. Then maybe Mom can send you a bit. Maddie texts back, OMG, exclamation point. That's nice, Dad. That really helps with the car. Then when her birthday actually arrived, I just lost track of what day it was. I'm a writer and I tend to zone out sometimes. I often don't know what month it is, much less what the actual day is. So then when I wished her a happy belated birthday a couple of days late, I guess I accidentally hit the question mark instead of the exclamation point. So it was happy birthday, question mark. It was just an error. Kind of a funny error though.
Okay, but you still did miss her birthday. Do you not put things in your calendar? You're literally holding your phone.
Now, the male brain would think nothing of this, but the female brain will search for hidden meaning in the question mark. Nope, no meaning, just a typo in a text message. Do you ever make typos in text messages?
This man is a freak. Like, he really just hates women. I think the Bitcoin shirts are giving him brain rot. But after this, he does point out that Maddie forgot his birthday also, saying that she put it in her calendar wrong. Regardless, she did actually try. Then he wraps up the video by doing more back in my day talk, saying,
By the way, I don't think my dad ever remembered my birthday. Not once. My mom always did, but not Dad. I'm not sure remembering birthdays was a thing for dads back then.
No, I'm pretty sure you just had a crappy father, which explains a lot about this situation. He also plays the victim script, which is pretty typical when it comes to abusive parenting styles.
I'm also going to stop remembering birthdays. How about you just tell me when your birthday is, when it actually arrives, and then I'll say, happy birthday.
Then, after this, you really wouldn't believe it, but he starts blaming the woke education system.
I also blame the education system. Yes, Maddie was brainwashed against her dad by her mom for 19 years, that's true. And this happens in most divorces. In a divorce situation, the mother is the one who really ends up raising the kids. It's then the dad's job to provide the money. That's how it works.
Well, yeah, if you're not going to help raise your 3 kids, then yes, you have to give money.
Meanwhile, the mom, the ex-wife, is with the kids almost the entire time, dumping all over the dad, the ex-husband. And that's the way it works in every divorce that I've seen. But now there's this other element. The kids are also being brainwashed into leftist woke insanity by the schools, starting in kindergarten, all the way through college and grad school.
Maybe he's getting CTE from all the head spinning he's doing while breakdancing. Because what is this nonsense?
Girls in school are taught to hate men, to see themselves as victims of the so-called patriarchy. And they're taught that there are many genders. And why not consider changing your gender? Kindergartners are taught this today.
Dog, what class is that? I'm assuming he's reading directly off of Fox News right now, like a teleprompter. I know for a fact you didn't have a close relationship with your kids if you really think they were taught that.
The schools should be teaching reading, writing, math, science, and marketable skills that will actually help the kids succeed in life.
He really thinks schools don't teach skills like reading, writing, math, and science? The boomers are not okay.
There is almost nothing of value being taught in the schools at any level nowadays. It's all political indoctrination into woke ideology. So here's my advice. Don't send your kids to college or even to school at all.
I can't with this dude. When the brain is rotted this far, what's the point of even responding? He's too far gone. But he wraps up the video by saying he just saw the kids at Christmas. And Maddie's older sister has come to some of his breakdancing competitions. But with that, we're pretty much caught up on the story behind the breakdancing dad, and how one TikToker's video about the father that abandoned her led to an unhinged breakdancing response from the father, which went viral across social media, and was then revealed by the daughter to be full of lies. But now that you have pretty much all the details about this situation, let me know what you think and anything I missed down in the comments. If you want to stay caught up with even more internet drama and news, subscribe to catch the next story, and check out my main channel for even longer videos. Thank you so much for watching the first video on the new channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
Well, I call up black, so I'm sneaky. Give you space so that I don't come off as creepy. Wear a long hat, hold a candle 'cause I'm sleepy. Another word for small is